What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to New York City. We're doing another walk and talk today. Happy Thursday. Today we're going to be doing a walk and talk all about the cargo ship series and the cargo ship journeys that I've done in the past. I'm going to tell you guys the whole story of how I ever boarded a cargo ship for the first time. So without further ado, let's roll the intro. Okay, now that we're here, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk all about the cargo ship journeys. You guys have been sending me suggestions on my Instagram for topics to talk about while I do these walk and talks. So if you want to find a way to send me an idea for walk and talk, I'll talk about it here. Just shoot me a message on Instagram. So let's talk about the cargo ship journeys because it's a really interesting story in my life. I got about a 15-minute walk to my train, so I can give you guys a little chat, and then I'll give you guys a little update at the end of this video too about what's going on with the YouTube channel because you like hearing those updates. So let's scale back maybe 3 years ago. I think it was 2015. I'd actually just visited New York for my second time ever, and I did a big trip through New York City for a month, and then I ended up going to Toronto in Canada right after New Year's. So it was literally like the first week of 2015, and that was when I was at a really big crossroads in my life, one of the many I guess, where I was thinking about going back to college, and I did end up going back to college. So I was on this really rushed trip from New York City to Canada, and I had a week or so to get back to Miami before I started my first ever semester of community college. And so one thing that happened while I was in this hostel in Toronto, and I should be able to overlay vlog footage of all of this because I've been documenting my life this whole time. I was in this hostel, and this guy came into the hostel. We were sitting down and chatting as you do in a hostel, and he was telling me how he just circumnavigated, I think it was the globe if I remember correctly. He had told me that he sailed on a cargo ship from Japan to like Vancouver, and he went to a bunch of crazy places throughout the Pacific, and he just took a cargo ship all the way to the west side of Canada and then traveled overland to Toronto where he is now. The conversation's a bit fuzzy. I don't remember specifically the nationality of this guy or his name or anything. We never ended up becoming like Facebook friends, so I don't remember exactly how it was, but I do remember that the idea stuck with me. It wasn't anything that I immediately like researched or looked up to do, but I just remember the idea sticking with me and always kind of being in the back of my head. So fast forward 2 years from there, it's 2016, and I'm on a trip in Israel, doing a sort of organized tour. And the trip ends, and I only planned on really going to Israel for like a month or so. But I was thinking the entire time at the end of this organized tour, how can I find a more lucrative way to get back to Miami? Because I had been traveling to Israel my entire life. You know, I'd been going back and forth through the US and Israel for so long in the Middle East, and I'd never thought of a different way of getting home back to Miami other than just flying on a plane, which at that point I had done so many times I was like kind of bored of it. So I started researching different ways to get back from the Middle East or from Europe to the United States, and I came across cargo ships, and then I remembered, I was like, oh wait, that's actually a thing. You can travel on a cargo ship. And so I started researching, and I ended up finding a company. And I mean, if you guys want to know the exact in and outs and the technical details, I'll be honest, they're even a little bit fuzzy to me, just because so much has passed since then. And this was like 2.5 years now at this point. But like, if you want to go and get the actual details, watch the cargo ship videos that I explain how to get on a cargo ship. But I basically found this one company. I found a bunch of companies, and then I found this one company that was in Germany. Their name was Hamburg Süd, and I think they were based in Hamburg, if I remember correctly, which the name should imply. That would make sense. And they basically dealt with getting connected like passengers who want to go on cargo ships to cargo ship companies, and they'd basically been like negotiating my passage onto a cargo ship with this one cargo ship company for like a month. And everything that I was doing for the first maybe 2 weeks was being translated on Google Translate from English to German, because I didn't know that they actually spoke English. And then I actually gave them a call, and I realized that they do speak English, and quite good English. And I ended up making pretty good friends with the lady in the office. I actually was gonna go to Germany and interview them in their offices about how they get passengers on cargo ships. I never ended up doing that, but that's because I never ended up going to Germany that trip around. But I did have that contact. But we basically ended up exchanging emails, and I was kind of telling her what I was planning on doing and stuff, and she helped me find this cargo ship journey that was from La Spezia, Italy, which is a little shipping point town that's not really next to anything. I think it was maybe 2 hours public transport away from Firenze or Florence, say it in English. So I found flights from Israel to Florence, Italy. They gave me a time range that would take to get there, and I basically just found the ticket for super cheap, hopped on a flight, and flew out to Italy. When I got to Italy, I was keeping in contact with this deck master who told me how long the trip would, or how long it would take them to get to port. And there was like some delays, and then they came a day early, and then they came a day late. And I ended up staying in like Pisa, Italy for like 7 days, just hanging out in a hostel, not really doing anything, waiting for this cargo ship to arrive to give me the A-OK to go to this town, La Spezia. And I think one of the biggest things was the money, the cost of this trip. When I was first booking this thing when I was still in Israel, I didn't have money to my name at this point. I think, if I remember correctly, at this point in my life, I was still working that 9-to-5 job at a retail store. And I had saved probably close to maybe $2,000, $2,500, something like that. The cargo ship journey was 1,800 bucks. And I remember with the insurance and everything, it came out to almost 2,000 something. So I literally booked the journey and had 200 bucks left to my name, 200 or 300 bucks to my name. This is how I used to travel, because I really had no money. I used to just travel like broke with like $0 in my bank account. But I booked that trip, and I remember heading out to Italy and just being in fear of not knowing how much money I was gonna have for the next day, or how long I should stay there, or how long I should book nights at hostels and stuff. Do you guys notice how much better I'm getting at speaking in public here? I'm getting better at it. It's not bothering me so much. But yeah, I basically just ran around this part of Italy for like a week, not knowing what I was gonna do with myself, and ended up making it to the dock of the ship, to the port, and had them bring me onto the ship itself. And I, within 1 week, kind of discovered this whole new, well, we gotta cross the street, this whole new means of travel, this whole new cool way to travel the world. Yeah, it wasn't practical in any sense of the word, especially not at the moment where I was living basically, I couldn't even say paycheck to paycheck. I was just living until my bank account was empty. But I found out that through that, it's possible to, you don't have to rely strictly on plane travel. It doesn't have to be strictly flights. You can travel the world somewhat via the ocean. And on that trip, it was the first time in my life, I think, yeah, because this was before I ever went to Cuba. It was the first time in my life up until that point that I've ever been really disconnected from the internet and phone. You know, I grew up in a time where I always had like a phone in my hands pretty much. And when I was a kid, I don't think cell phones were widely available yet, but I remember probably when I was in like the 1st or 2nd grade, I already had like a little Nokia brick phone. But this was the first time in my life where I was completely disconnected from internet, phone. There were 10 days in the Atlantic Ocean where we had nothing, and we hit a hurricane too, so it took our crossing from 8 or 7 days that it was supposed to be to like 10 or 11 days, where we were just stuck in the ocean, and we had no internet, we had no phone. Now to the crew, this was normal because they do these trips all the time, but for me, I was just like basically sitting out in the ocean, sitting out at sea, just sitting on the deck of the ship, looking out at the ocean every day for hours. And it was sort of an incredible experience, and also a really bad one from the same perspective, because you get so bored and you get so like, I don't know how to explain to you, you're so in your own thoughts for hours on end every single day. And just to do that every day, to wake up, go out to the deck, sit there, look at the water passing, look at the ocean, and do that process over and over again every day for like 10 days is a little bit insane. But it also changed my perspective on life. I learned a lot. I don't know why one day at sea I was so in my own thoughts, and I so appreciated everybody that I had in my life at that point, that I just decided to send WhatsApp audio messages to all my friends with no internet. I knew it wouldn't deliver to them for a while. Just send them a bunch of audio messages saying that I love them and I care for them and that they're important to my life, and try to just send some sort of positive message to my family and friends back home. And we passed by this group of islands by Portugal called the Azores Islands, or the Azores, and when we passed by those islands, we got internet for like 15 minutes, and my phone sent off all those messages, and then when we disconnected from the islands, I lost all the internet. And I remember when I made it to the Bahamas during that trip, after maybe 7 days or 8 days in the Atlantic Ocean, I just got a bombardment of messages from my friends saying how much those messages meant to them and how much they appreciated the love that I sent to them. And it taught me a lot. Like, just being deprived of being able to speak to anybody that you care about, that is important to you for so long, and then, you know, receiving that love all in one go was really, it was life-changing. And so I think I owe a lot to cargo ship travel, because it really is what in essence blew up my YouTube channel. When I was in Israel after a year of that journey in 2017 in the summer, I had one of my cargo ship videos just blow up on me on YouTube, and I went from a position of having 7,000 subscribers or 6,000 subscribers on YouTube to 15,000. And I've talked about this before. I went from having 200 bucks in my pocket again to having 1,500 overnight. It just happened so fast. And that's because of the cargo ship series. It's because of the work that I put in the year before, and I didn't even know it was work. I was doing it as a journey. That gave me that confidence to do it. And it was making that decision to board that cargo ship and travel a way that most people would look at me and say, you're so stupid for doing that, and what's the appeal, is what gave me the confidence to do this full time. And now I'm doing it full time, and I can board whatever cargo ship I want probably. With a little bit of research, I know how to do it, but I have that freedom to go on cargo ships and show you guys what it's like. So that's a bit of my relationship with cargo ships. I mean, later on that year, just a few months after my first cargo ship series blew up, I did another calculated cargo ship passage through Israel to Italy, which was only 5 days long. It cost me 500 bucks, and I did it with the return on investment mentality of like, I'm gonna make a bunch of videos here, make my money back on the journey, and see if this is a feasible way to live. And it did. Those videos blew up. Some of them have 1 million views. Some of them blew up on Facebook and on YouTube. So I took that opportunity and really ran with it, and it worked really well. And so now I know that I can do those cargo ship journeys again. And that's just a little story of my cargo ship journey, because I know a lot of you guys were asking and wondering how I originally ever got on a cargo ship. You gotta love New York City sirens. So that's a little bit of information about how I boarded a cargo ship and lived on a cargo ship for a little bit, and how I definitely plan on continuing to do it in the future. I wanted to give you guys a little update. As of right now, I am fully done with my Manhattan series of videos. I covered all the notable neighborhoods that I wanted to in Manhattan. I've been shooting for like 2 weeks now, non-stop pretty much, but I finished the entire island of Manhattan, every notable neighborhood that I wanted to cover, which is amazing. I feel so accomplished. So now everything should be a little easier. I have to cover Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx I've already finished, and Staten Island. And then I should be officially done with New York City and be able to provide you guys with a huge, cool guide on New York City, which is awesome. And then after that, I'm really gonna feel like I've graduated New York City. I won't be a local here. I won't know everything about the city, but I feel like I will have done a service to people wanting to travel here. And that's really what I wanted to accomplish when I came out here, was, you know, personal growth, work growth, and content growth, and I think I've done that. So that's a little update for you guys on that. I am going to head over to Jacob Carlson's house, King of the Vlogs. He's letting me do a little edit day at his house. We're gonna hang out and stuff, but things are looking up, guys. Life is good. Everything's great. And we'll see you guys in the next one. If you want to support this channel, if you like what I'm doing, you can buy some of this merchandise on screen right now or down in the description below. It's pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie, it has a dodo bird on it. It doesn't get any cooler than that. But I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you guys a long time. Follow me on Instagram. I'll see you then. Goodbye.